Those of you that are here live, thank you for joining me. For those of you watching the recording, thank you for joining me in the recording as well. I feel like I need to offer a disclaimer. I was on a video call yesterday, and we are in mid-November, and they were looking out my window here in North Dakota thinking, is that truly mid-November? That's real. We don't have our snow out here yet. We still have green grass, so we're all in a good spot to enjoy some beautiful weather a little bit longer. All right, but we are not here to talk about the weather today. We are here to talk about AI, and we all have a starting point. Perhaps you've already had your starting point and you're already using AI productively. Maybe you've tried AI, but you've been underwhelmed with the results of your experiments, or maybe today is your starting point. So wherever you're at on your AI journey, you'll find something you can use here at today's workshop. Sorry, I accidentally muted myself. I get the wrong button there. So there we go. Next slide. So introductions. I'm Dave Halton. I'm also a member of Simple Academy, in addition to being the president of Marketing Ideas for Printers. So as a member of Simple Academy, that is a community of the world's leading experts on AI skill development. And at Simple, our mission is to guide you through the transition to an AI-powered economy. My job is to help you as a commercial printer navigate that transition and guide you on your journey to becoming an AI workflow master. So let's start there. What is an AI workflow master? Well, just to be perfectly clear, that's a term that my AI community invented to create a shared language around this idea. And this is what we mean by an AI workflow master. We'll take a look at this post from Andrew Wilkinson. He's a billionaire that runs an internet holding company. You can kind of think of him like the Warren Buffett of internet companies. And this is his post on X for hiring an AI-first director of finance. It's not a post for hype. He's running a serious business, and he's hiring for a serious role. And if you look at that, the punchline of his post is that he's looking for someone that can do the work of 10 people by using AI. And every day that's becoming more and more our reality, as people applying for jobs need to demonstrate that they can do the work of 10 people with the assistance of AI. And so that means three things, probably means more things, but we're going to focus on these three things because it means in your current role, just like his post says, that means you can do the work of 10 people when you're using AI. That also implies that in your future roles, you'll be able to learn new roles and new skills 10 times faster. And then finally, you need to be able to prove it. Certification, being able to prove to the world that you can actually do that kind of work with AI. So all of that gets bundled up into the term AI workflow masters. So we learn by doing, and we'll have an exercise to kick this off. And later, for the live attendees, I'll guide you through the use of today's featured AI workflow prompt. So we will be hands-on, but as we get closer to that hands-on moment, would like to get a little audience participation here as well. And so a couple of things. First of all, have your AI tool ready. That could be ChatGPT, could be Claude by Anthropic, Google Gemini, Copilot, any of them. If you don't yet have an favorite AI tool, just go to chatgpt.com and create an account. It'll take 30 seconds to do that. And then when you do, we will be hands-on with that AI tool, because there's just a huge difference between just passively consuming information and proactively participating in the workshop. So have your AI ready. And now the second part of what's on the screen now is just give me a feel for how you and your team are using AI today. Find the one that's closest. It doesn't have to be an exact match, but it should be one that's close to you there. How are you and your team using AI? Is it A, you're using AI, but your team does not? B, a few people on your team use AI casually? C, your team has a structured approach for using AI, or D, maybe you don't have a team, maybe you're working solo. So whichever one of those fits you best, go ahead and drop that into the chat. And I want to make sure that that you're here and that you can hear me. So I'll make this awkward pause while I wait for you to drop in an A, B, C, or D into the chat, whichever one suits you, fits your situation best. And if you can't find that chat button, it's on the meeting software near the bottom. You'll see a little bubble there. So we got one B in there. So we got 100% vote for B, and we got a D. All right, now we have a 50-50 split and 4 answers. So we've got 2 answers. That's good. So we're getting a little bit of that information rolling in. And let's take that. Let's move that forward then. All right, so I'm going to set the stage for our agenda here. And what I want you to kind of see this progression from a simple prompt to a prompt upgrade to an AI workflow prompt. And the progression is kind of like this. That simple prompt, that's where everybody starts. You go into your AI and you just ask it a simple question and you get a simple answer. I always think of that like, tell me a knock-knock joke. You can have AI say, tell me a knock-knock joke, and it will indeed tell you a knock-knock joke. Honestly, it's a pretty simple, way to use AI. And we'll pull out a simple prompt here in a moment. I honestly hope you don't use it. I'll put it out there. The upgraded one, we get a little more context, and then the AI workflow prompt, that's where you get real meaningful work done with AI. So I'm going to show that to you now. Again, just to kind of set the stage. We'll kind of stay high level. But here's a simple prompt. It's kind of the setup for our featured prompt here. And I'm going to drop that into the chat, the meeting chat. And you are welcome to use it if you want. But like I said, this simple prompt, not even that excited about using this simple one because it really is pretty simple. Although it does come with a little bit of a twist here. So I'm going to put this in. And this is coming from a book called Getting Things Done. As I was getting this one ready, I'm thinking, boy, there's another thing that I'm measuring in decades. Decades ago, I started using the ideas from David Allen's Getting Things Done approach, and AI can really help us bring that together. I'll have more to say about that as we go along. But if you're not familiar with Getting Things Done system, that's all right. AI will help us become familiar with that as well. But the starting point for the Getting Things Done system is just getting clear on everything, finding a way where you can capture all that information. And so we're going to start with this simple prompt that says, ask me for the tools I currently use to capture ideas, whether I prefer digital or analog methods, and where new tasks and commitments usually come from. Then help me choose a simple, trusted system to capture everything in one place so nothing slips through the cracks. Pretty simple prompt, pretty simple ask, and we'll just go ahead and put that in there. And we'll let AI do a little bit of its thinking and see where it takes us. And so AI is just going to ask a little bit of information, and I do have kind of this little bit of information kind of ready in a copy and paste format. So I'm just going to put that in there. What tools do you currently use? Do you lean more digital or analog or a hybrid approach? Where do most new tasks, requests, or commitments show up? And I'm just going to put that in there saying, here's where I capture my ideas, my mix of digital and analog, and where do they show up? I'm just putting in those answers. If you run that prompt, you can put in your answers, of course. But I'll just put in that simple prompt and get a simple response. So it's a one and done. We give it in there, and they're saying, their AI is telling us, here's what I recommend. Okay, not a lot of back and forth on that, just a good solid advice. So if we bring that back here to where I'm setting the stage, that's a simple prompt, but we can do better. And here's an upgraded version of that prompt. And this is the part where I'll stay a little bit more high level. This is the simple prompt on the screen here. So here now is the upgraded prompt. And I will put that into the meeting chat so you can run that if you want. Not important that you do so now, but still give you that information. And so let me run that upgraded prompt as well. And let me see, I got to navigate back to where I was at here in my demo chat. And so one thing that you'll notice, just to call one thing out, we're starting it off by saying you are a GTD. That's getting things done. You are a GTD expert. That's really the biggest change, not the only one, but the biggest one. And we're telling AI to ask me for that same kind of information. It's actually remembering a lot of what I said from that previous information, so I don't have to add much to it. And again, just for the purposes of staying high level, I'm just going to put that in there just so that you can see that additional back and forth. And now you're going to see that the AI is actually going to have a little bit more context about what we're trying to do here. Has more information because it is a getting things done expert. That's the role we've assigned to it. And now it's a conversation. We're not just stopping. It's saying now we're actually moving on to the next step. And AI is asking us to check in and say, is this right? And we could keep on going. I'm going to just let that one sit there because I want to make sure we get into our actual topics here. The next one then is the AI workflow prompt. This is part of the AI MBA. It's one of the services from AI for Printers. It's from a course called Getting Things Done, and it's based on that book. And here's the other part that I want to show you now is just to give you a little bit more information. We're looking at one part of this system. We're going to look at one AI workflow that supports 9 different pieces of the Getting Things Done system here. So even though we're just looking at that first step, think of it in the whole, but we can go ahead and use that workflow. And it looks like a lot of information, and we can just copy and run that prompt. I'm not going to do that now because I want to stay high level, but I do want to show you what that looks like because I did pre-run that. And it looks like this. So here's the big difference on an AI workflow prompt. A lot of information. If you know how to copy and paste, you can do this. There's nothing requiring a lot of technical expertise here. So it looks like a lot, but it's really not. You just copy and paste. And the big thing here is AI will continue to play that role of a getting things done expert. I'll play the GTD nerd, and you're the CEO, the CEO of your attention. And it's going through this. And now, again, staying high level, it's saying, here's what we're going to do. We're going to define your capture tools, identify capture locations, set up physical and digital inboxes, create a capture habit, build your capture system guide. Even offers to give us a 2-minute overview, which I've done here. Again, staying at a high level, then AI walks us through this step by step. We're going to talk about why that's important, but now we're well beyond that tell me a knock-knock joke way of using AI. We're actually having a meaningful conversation with AI to get work done in multiple steps all the way through until it's actually helping us get that work done. And at the end, we end up with a capture habit plan, which is one of the very first things you need to be able to do if you're going to implement the full Getting Things Done framework. All right, so that was a little bit of a longer setup. Let me go back to our slides here because now I'd like you to add a little bit more feedback for me, please. In your use of AI, which one of those ways matches how you're using AI today? You're kind of seeing 3 different levels of prompts. Which one are you using today in your use of AI? Are you using simple prompts, example A, where it's the quick tasks and small wins, just one and done answers? Are you B? Are you using prompts like the upgraded prompt, where there's a better structure, stronger results, but still kind of one-off? Or are you using C, where it's a prompt like an AI workflow prompt, where it's structured and repeatable and highly productive through a series of the conversations with AI? And I see one answer has come in already, so I'll just wait for a moment and ask you to fill that one out for me. A, B, or C? Certainly, it wasn't all that long ago, or I think everybody was answering A, and there's a little bit more towards the B crowd now. I rarely see people using C, which is kind of what we're here to talk about today. So go ahead and drop in the one that matches you best here. Okay, we did get one answer, so I need to kind of knock on my camera and wake everyone else up there. So if you can go ahead and drop in your A, B, or C, whichever one you feel suits you, matches up with you best. Okay, we will continue. We'll continue. And now we're going to get into today's agenda. And here it is. So now we kind of have the bigger picture of the workflow prompts. Here's where we're going with this. We are going to look at the 3 actions needed to become an AI workflow master, the 3 opportunities that exist for AI workflow masters, and then finally the 3 options for participating in an AI saturated world. And so the first step is to talk about the 3 actions, and it's productivity, performance, and engagement. So we'll start with productivity. And it really does start with this very simple question: how can AI help me do my work faster and easier? Notice it's not can AI help me do my work, it's how can AI help me do my work faster and easier? And so what we're going to do is we're going to have AI help us build a toolkit of all our areas of responsibility and the daily work we do in those areas of responsibility. And it'll go something like this. So have your AI ready, because I'll give you the AI instructions where you can build your own productivity toolkit. And when you do, you'll see this come out of it. It'll be your areas of responsibility. In this case, this example is for sales and marketing and commercial printing. So if that was your role, you might have these 8 areas of responsibility. And when we have AI do its work, it's going to put those across the top. That's your job roles and your responsibilities. And then AI is going to start filling in those columns for us. And the information in those columns, that's your daily work within each area of that responsibility. So let me pause here. This looks like a lot of information on the screen. And the reason it looks like that is because, well, it is. So you have permission to ignore it now. All that information, and actually kind of just demands that you ignore it now, because we'll bring more attention to that in a little bit. But for now, I'd like you to take a few moments so that you can create this toolkit for your role right now. And the way we're going to do that is I'm going to copy and paste this prompt into the meeting chat, and then you can take it into your AI, and you're going to create your personal productivity toolkit in your chat. So I'll drop that in there. Now you can copy it, but do not run it yet, because there's one piece of information that I need to make sure that we talk through together so you can get the correct results. So again, here it comes. It's coming into the meeting chat. Go ahead and copy it. Don't run it yet, but just copy it. But you can paste it into your AI chat, as I'm going to do here. Let me get back to my starting point. So I'm going to paste it in. So copy it out of the meeting chat, paste it into your AI chat, and then just take a look at those first 3 lines. Kind of pre-filled in for the audience that shows up here, but just go ahead and put those in for your role, your company size, and your industry. So if it's anything other than an owner, it's anything other than 10 people in the company, if it's anything other than commercial printing, go ahead and change that so it matches yours. And then once you've done that, just change those first 3 lines and then let it run. And I'm doing the same on mine here now. And so you will start to see your personal toolkit, your personal productivity toolkit, the first draft, start to show up right on your screen right now in your AI tool. Now my screen's a little bit smaller, so I do need to scroll left and right on there to see it, but we can see that 9x9 grid of information here. And across the top, that's your roles, strategic direction and growth, and in my case, sales and business development, and so on. And so kind of take a quick scan of that and make sure everything looks like it's right, kind of roughly right. Our experience shows that this is going to be about 80 to 90% accurate, just right out of the box. But if you are finding any of those that are just like blatantly wrong, say, yeah, I really don't take care of risk, compliance, and continuity, you can just have that conversation with AI. Just go ahead and add that into the chat and saying, like, I don't do risk, compliance, and continuity, and fill that in and say, suggest a different one for me. Or maybe you're going to look at one of the items in here and saying, like, yeah, I'm not responsible for software and systems inventory. Find something else in there for me. Just have that conversation with AI if you're finding any just really egregious errors in there. Okay, so again, we're still at a point where we're looking at a lot of information. Don't worry about the fact that it looks like a lot of information, because this is where we're going to start turning it into value here. And so on your screen, you should have a complete productivity toolkit for yourself? Well, I should say that a little bit differently because what's on my screen here is a complete productivity toolkit for sales and marketing in commercial printing. This is actually something that's ready to go, that I could put this toolkit into your hands right now if you'd like, through the AI for Printers program. What's on your screen, however, isn't a toolkit yet. What you have is a toolbox with a bunch of labels on it, and you still need to fill it with the tools. Well, how do you fill it with the tools? One of the things is you can learn how to fill that through the live training that we offer through AI for Printers. Or this is ready to go. If you just want to push the easy button and say, yep, I want that toolkit for sales and marketing and commercial printing so I can do all of that stuff, we have that ready to go. So everything in here, every one of these boxes is an AI workflow. So just to be clear, every tool in this toolkit is an AI workflow like the one we looked at high level just a few moments ago. So now I want to show you one of these tools from the toolkit, from the productivity toolkit for sales and marketing, and we'll actually run one so you can see how it works. And the one we're going to run is the lead scoring model. And so I'll run this one on the screen. Again, it's just a copy and paste exercise. And I'm going to go ahead and just drop that in there. Now we're going to look at this in a little bit more detail so that you can actually see how that is going to work here. So, sorry, I got to navigate around here just for a moment. Let me go back to my starting point. Actually, I'll just do it from right here. We'll be good right here. Copy and paste. We're going to drop it in. Don't need to change a single thing here. Again, a lot of information, but you can see some of the hints of where we're going, all of these multiple steps in here. And AI is going to start by doing some thinking. I think I have mine in its thinking mode. It's in auto, so it's deciding that it wants to be thoughtful, which is fine. We like a thoughtful, friendly AI. And so now you're going to see how an AI workflow works. What makes that more like an AI workflow? And we actually get a little insight into how AI is thinking. It's kind of interesting to see, like, what is the thought process that it's going through? It gives us a little bit more insight as that starts to roll out here. And you know what? I am actually going to change this. I think it's actually trying to do everything all at once. And I'm going to actually slow it down. I did notice that ChatGPT is up to 5.1 right now, so that might explain why it's being a little bit more thoughtful right away here. So I'm actually going to do this one more time. Sorry, let me just get that in here. And I'm going to just intentionally slow it down just a bit. That's one thing that our community has noticed, is that with the advances in AI, it might be time to add that little bit to slow it down just a little bit here. And I'm actually going to put it on the fast track. I'm going to say just answer now. So an AI workflow, it's offering to take us through these step by step. Here's the first thing to notice is we're not just letting AI just run into the wild and say, I'm going to do my part and drink a sip of coffee here. And you come back when you're all done here. We're not going to let AI just run every single step all at once. We're going to say, let's break it down into steps where we can participate. So if we were coming up with a lead scoring model, the first step is defining lead scoring objectives. And AI is going to work with us and give us some more context, or ask us for more context so that it can do better work. AI says, before I define the objectives, here are the most common challenges commercial printers face when prioritizing leads. And so here are the challenges. Many inquiries lack actual buying intent. No consistent method for ranking leads. Technical buyers versus marketing buyers behave differently. Time is wasted on small or non-strategic accounts. Sales teams rely on gut feel instead of data, or high value buyers often move silently until late in the cycle. Any of that sound familiar? Is this the world that we live in as printers? Well, that's what AI is doing a pretty good job saying, like, here's the challenges. And if we agree with those challenges, it's going to say, here's the proposed objectives for a lead scoring model. Prioritize leads most likely to convert into profitable customers. Help sales reps focus efforts on the highest value opportunities. And you can see all of them coming on here. So AI is asking for our feedback and our input and saying, do these objectives align with your sales priorities? Or would you like any additions or adjustments before we move to step 2? Well, AI did a pretty good job. And for today, I'm going to say they align so we can continue. If they didn't align, this is where we come in and we check it and say, all right, AI, you're just a little bit off track here. Let's adjust it this way. We have that opportunity to do that at every step. Step 2 is identifying high attribute leads. Proposed high value lead attributes. They're suggesting we look for things like company size or industry type, role of the contact, marketing mindset, and so on. You can see all of these different suggestions. I'm going through this somewhat quickly, but this is where we would take a few thoughtful moments and saying, yep, is everything correct? And we would say, does it accurately reflect our ideal prospect profile? We'll say yes, and let's go on to step 3. So I'll pick up the pace here a little bit, but you're starting to see that AI is working on this project one step at a time, not on its own, but coming back to check with us. And so step 3 is now defining engagement signals. For commercial printers, behavior-based scoring is where most models fail, usually because they treat all engagements as equally important. The truth is, some action means curiosity, some means active buying, and some means I'm ready right now. What are those signals? Now we're working on another step of this project. We're giving AI the permission to help us determine the high intent behaviors, the mid intent, the low intent behaviors, maybe even negative or disqualifying signals. Same thing, we're going to thoughtfully look at this and say, AI, are you on the right track or do we need to adjust anything? For now, do these engagement behaviors accurately reflect sales readiness for your commercial printing prospects? If so, we'll move on to step 4. So again, can't emphasize that enough. We can take those few thoughtful moments to course correct it if we need to, but more often than not, we're just going to give AI permission to move to that next step because it usually is doing a pretty darn good job at every single step. But it is our role to check on that. So step 4, assigning weights and scoring rules. AI is suggesting a weighted scoring model. And every category that we just had, overall score thresholds. And again, it's checking with us. Does this look right? Does this scoring system prioritize leads effectively for your sales team? We'll just say continue to step 5. We'll let AI continue and do a little bit more of its work. We're giving it a little bit of free rein here, but we want to have those thoughtful moments to check in, which it is continuing to do for us. So step 5 now is implementing a system for score updates. System would include the update frequency. It would include trigger-based score resets. This is what AI is suggesting. Again, we have the opportunity to come in and say, yeah, that isn't quite the way we would want to do it, but we can adjust it or we can just go with it. And that's one thing we'll see here is as we're interacting with it, AI is pulling information out of us. It knows what to ask. It helps us think about the information that we might have not even thought about before. And it gets to that point where we can continue. We'll just keep it going here. And I think if I remember right, I think this is a 7-stepper. So we are running close to the end of the finish line here. Step 6 is integrating lead scoring into the sales process, giving us advice on how to do that. Booking the warm lead list or working the warm lead list, review and nurture leads, and so forth. Lots of information that you can use to actually put this into play. Confirmation question, is this right for our team? And we can say, no, that isn't quite right, or we can take it as it is. Staying high level, we will move on to step 7. And we are there at the final review and implementation. So all of that work that we just did with AI over the previous 6 steps comes together here with this final review and implementation ready for us to put into action. All right, it's still being thoughtful, so I'm just going to let that one keep on running. And let's get back to our slides here, because now we are at the first of 3 turkey problems. So you're going to find 3 turkey slides in this presentation. So you all get a gold star if you find the other 2 and report in here. Bonus points for you. But here's the first one. And I experienced the turkey problem head on when it became clear that AI was going to impact the way that we provide marketing services to help you sell more printing. This turkey problem, it comes from a book called The Black Swan. It is an amazing book published around 2009. It's about the fact that we live in a very unpredictable world where the things that matter the most for the long-term success of the economy and our society and really everything else, all of that can just be changed in a moment by something unpredictable that comes out of nowhere. So what do you do when you live in a world that's like that? Well, in one of the chapters, the author talks about what he calls the turkey problem. It goes like this. The turkey wakes up every single day and is predictably cared for by a farmer. The turkey gets fed every single morning, gets to go out and play in the yard with its turkey friends, and has this really nice place to hang out every single night. So this turkey is basically taken care of, and that cycle repeats itself day after day after day after day, until eventually the turkey concludes that this is what being a turkey must be like, and it's just going to be this way forever. Until one day, usually on a day coming up pretty soon here, like Thanksgiving, when a turkey usually ends up on the table, something changes. The farmer comes out, grabs the turkey by the neck, and all of a sudden it's lights out. So that turkey problem shows up like this in the real world when it comes to AI. The turkey problem says, all right, AI can do this task, but I don't need to pay attention because it can't do, and you fill in the blank. And take a look at your productivity toolkit. You should still have that up on your screen there, something like this. So if you take a look at that productivity toolkit and then you fill in that blank with whatever item seems most impossible for AI to do, well, that's the turkey problem. And so that's what I want to suggest, that if it's on your screen right now in that productivity toolkit you've created for yourself, not only can AI help you do it, but in your current role, you plus AI can do the job at least 10 times faster with no compromise in quality and usually an increase in quality. Okay, there's a lot there. Let's break that one down a little bit. What does that mean? So the first one is it's you plus AI. We're not just letting AI run the world. It's scheduled to take over the world next year, I think, but not this year. So it's us plus AI. We're not letting AI do it on its own. Can do the job at least 10 times faster. And there should be no question now that AI can do the work at least 10 times faster. Just even in the example that I just showed, we stayed high level on it, but you can imagine that the work that we accomplished in just those few moments, that could easily take days, if not weeks, to accomplish that kind of work. So at least 10 times faster. And then no compromise in quality. And that's the one where people can maybe bristle a bit. It's like, really? No compromise in quality? Well, there can't be, because that's where you are still playing the role of quality control at each one of those checkpoints, at every step in that AI process. So if there is a quality control issue or compromise in quality, that finger points right back at us, because that's our job, is to provide the quality control at each one of those checkpoints. And then usually an increase in quality. This is becoming increasingly true over time. 2 years ago, I don't know if I could have said that with a straight face, that there's usually an increase in quality. But AI is progressing so fast, and every day it seems like the quality just gets better and better and better. So that is an increasingly true statement. And then that also impacts your future role. That also means that you can significantly accelerate and many times even skip the lengthy learning process. Okay, so let's go back to if your productivity toolkit on there that you just had, if you take a look at that, Most people are going to find 5 or 10 workflows in that productivity toolkit, likely even more than that, but there'll be at least 5 or 10 of them that are going to really move the needle in saving a bunch of time. It's not unusual to find that people can shave off 20% of their daily work time by using the tools in that toolkit. So here's an easy way to think through the math of that. If you are used to doing your job Monday through Friday, well, now you can do your job Monday through Thursday and take Friday to be more strategic, which is where we go with the performance aspect of AI. So with AI, the great way to become more strategic is to run what we call performance experiments. And whoever runs the most performance experiments wins. Let's bring that even a little bit closer to our world. If you're the printer running the most performance experiments, AI will help you be the printer that wins. So now we're going to shift a little bit. We're going to shift from the productivity toolkit to a performance experiments toolkit. So have your AI ready, because I'm going to give you instructions where you can build your own performance experiments toolkit. When you do, you'll see key performance indicators, like the ones that we have here for sales and marketing and commercial printing. Those key performance indicators are going to come across the top. In plain English, those are the things that you're responsible for doing better over time in your role. And then the columns are going to fill in with a combination of experts in the field and known strategies from those experts to help you get the results that you desire. So this is the performance experiment toolkit for sales and marketing in commercial printing. Now let's build your own performance toolkit, performance experiments toolkit. So get your AI ready again. You should have that same chat that you started before. I'm going to drop these instructions into the meeting chat. Sometimes I've noticed that this meeting chat will change some of those characters into some smileys and emojis. If that happens, don't worry. When you copy it out and get it ready to paste in, it'll turn back into what we need here. So let's go back and take that. It is in the meeting chat. And then go back to your AI, and you should have this productivity toolkit up. And we're going to follow up on that. We're going to go ahead and just paste that in. This time, we don't need to change anything. Just copy it in, or copy it from the meeting chat, paste it into your AI. AI is going to run with it because it already knows about you from the previous toolkit. So in front of you, you should now start to see your AI performance toolkit coming into play here. Again, my screen's a little bit on the smaller side, so I have to scroll left and right. But we're seeing the things that we want to measure and improve over time. That's our column headers. And then if we look within each column, we're looking at who are the experts in the field. We're seeing experts like Alex Hermosi. And what is the strategy that he would use to increase monthly revenue? Marcus Sheridan, there's another one. We're seeing all of these experts just roll into our performance experiment toolkit. Okay, so I'm going to let mine keep on filling in here, and yours should be as well. While it's doing that, let me go back to our slides, because now we have another wall of text. So I want to caution you, if you're looking at that wall of text and feeling overwhelmed, don't. AI will help sort it all out. The wall of text in itself is honestly not that interesting, but what it represents is very, very interesting. It's the time that it saves and the value it creates. This is the kind of work that represents tens of thousands of dollars, and we're compressing it. We're compressing it to the clock time and the calendar time that's needed to do that work. So we're going to look at the performance experiment toolkit with the AI workflows for sales and marketing and commercial printing. That's what's on my screen now. It's another toolkit that's ready for you to use. If you just want to push the easy button and say, yep, Dave, that's the one that I like and I want to use that. You don't have to learn how to build these. We can get that for you. But we're going to take a look at one of these now. We're going to take a look at the value of using just one of them, which is increasing retention through hyper-personalized experiments. And so what we'll do is we're going to demonstrate this AI workflow. And in this case, I think what I'll do is, just so we can keep moving, I'm going to pull up the same one that I've used before, just to kind of have it pre-run, just so we won't have to wait for it to run. And I'll walk you through it here. Let me see, get to the right one here. Here it is. So we'll just go ahead and take a look at this. I'll scroll all the way back up to the top. In some ways, it's very similar to what we just looked at because we're just copying and pasting it in. And now instead of focusing on productivity, we're focusing on the performance experiments. And AI does exactly what we've done before. It says you're set up with a clear, structured approach to increase retention through hyper-personalized experiences, specifically tailored for a commercial printing business of your size. Let's begin. And it's going to come alongside and it's going to ask us for step one. And it's like AI is going to work with us. And AI will say, let's do step one together. And it's going to ask us for information. We provide that information and we're going to let it continue. And it'll assess step one and say, okay, here's what I know about step one. Now we will agree and say, yep, did AI do the right kind of work? If so, then we can move to step two, which is defining customer data points. I'm going to stay high level on this one, but if we go through this, we'll see that that's what it is. It's that continuing series of step one and step two and onwards, where we're coming in alongside to check AI at every single step and make sure that it is going in the right direction to get the work done. So step by step, we're doing days, if not weeks worth of work, compressing it down into just those few moments, much like what you saw for those of you that are attending live or joined prior to the meeting, how Corey did 2 weeks worth of work in just 35 minutes with an AI workflow prompt like this. So if we keep going with our hyper personalization strategy, we'll get to the point where we're at the very end. And I'm just scrolling through this where we get to a final deliverable, a final result of the hyper personalization strategy. We've course corrected AI every step of the way, and it's given us the opportunity to improve the results. And by the time that we're done, AI will allow us to keep going and implement this strategy. All right, I got into the weeds there a little bit, but if we go back to this performance experiment toolkit again, keep in mind that all of these can be turned into a bunch of experiments to help you move forward. That's what's on the screen here right now, a bunch of experiments to help you move forward. And AI will help you run these experiments in a hugely efficient manner. AI is going to pull information out of you. It'll help bring things to the surface that you might not have even thought about. And so we have a bunch of experiments here on this screen. And really what we're talking about is this truth, is that whoever runs the most performance experiments wins. Every business goal can be improved just by running experiments. And maybe out of 10 ideas, most will move the needle in the right direction. One might even backfire. That's just the nature of experimenting. But somewhere in that mix, there's the breakthrough ideas. And the only way to find the breakthroughs is to run the experiments. Because if we knew what it was, we wouldn't have to run an experiment. We would just do it. So here's the key. Speed is what changes the game. AI doesn't just give you more ideas. It helps you test them 10 times faster. So imagine this. Imagine that you and I are exactly equally skilled, but you worked by running experiments the old pre-AI way, where I use AI to run the experiment after experiment. By the end of the quarter, I will have run 20 experiments in the time it took you to run 2. And guess who wins? That's why we say whoever runs the most performance experiments wins. And that brings us to turkey slide number 2, because you should now be able to say 2 things. AI can help me be more productive. You saw that when we created the lead scoring model and ran the other AI workflows. You should also be able to say that AI can help me run the experiments fast to find the best wins. That's the one that we just looked at. You might also be saying, but AI can't replace my expertise. So if you ran that prompt to create your own list of performance experiments and then looked at those experiments in your current role, you will find that it's you plus AI can run the performance experiments at least 10 times faster with no compromise in quality and usually an increase in quality, not compared to yourself without AI, but compared to the world's top experts. So not only is your expertise in danger, every expert's expertise is in danger. And this is the major aha moment for people in this new AI world. The real disruption is not just that your expertise is at risk, Every expert's expertise is at risk. And here's the even bigger picture. In your future role, imagine becoming the person who, no matter how the world shifts, can always produce results 10 times faster than anyone else still adapting. That's what staying ahead looks like. All right, engagement. Let's talk about engagement. How do we prove all of this is real? We need to do two things. We need to track results, and we need to communicate progress and expertise in the form of certifications. So we have a process where we just simply look at what did you work on? How long did it take you to do with AI? How long did it take you to do before without AI? Well, that all calculates the number, and the job that you have is to make that number go up as high as you possibly can for everyone on your team. Now, if you don't think measuring progress is a big deal, just think about the last time you posted it on LinkedIn or any social media. What's the first thing you do? You start tracking results. You look for that red dot, the number in that red dot to keep getting bigger, and you're checking progress. That's what makes social media so addicting to so many people. Tracking makes an enormous difference in engagement. And the second thing is certifications. That's what marks and rewards your progress, and the certifications allow you to prove your AI expertise and promote it for you and your team and show the whole world that you know how to use AI to get real, meaningful results. This shows that you can use AI for more than just that simple tell me a knock-knock joke prompt. Certifications, that's what's built into the AI for Printers platform. All right, well, we are about 45 minutes in, and we're about 10 minutes away from getting to the featured AI workflow prompt, getting that in your hands. So let's quickly look at the opportunities that result from becoming an AI workflow master. What we know is that every time that there is a major shift in technology, there are orders of magnitude of opportunity created in the economy. We've been through these. There's the PC revolution. Microsoft comes out of nowhere. Now they're world famous and fabulously wealthy. Internet revolution. Amazon came out of nowhere. It's hard to imagine that time when we don't know what Amazon is, but there was that time that came out of nowhere. Now they are here. Social media, another shift in technology. Social media, Facebook had to come out of nowhere. Uber had to come out of nowhere at some time for transportation. So the challenge is, how do you find these opportunities? How do you be the printer that comes out of nowhere? You have to see the opportunity. You have to take action. And so what are these opportunities? Well, AI Workflow Master opportunity number one, that's for employees. This is where you can upskill yourself as an employee. Employees running the equipment, managing the projects, keeping the jobs flowing. Now, if that's you, AI can help you do the work of 10 people, not by replacing anyone, but by making you way more valuable. And that has come with a stigma in the past. People would think if I'm going to start using AI I might work myself out of a job and get fired. They're worried that they're going to set themselves up to be replaced by AI. Well, if that happens, who gets let go? It's not the person using AI to do the work of 10 people. It's the other 9 people not being productive that are going to get let go. Well, I'm not going to hang out here on that one too long today, but if you're in a specific role, there's a lot of upside for you. And as a business owner, you want these kind of employees. AI Workflow Master opportunity number 2, that's for the solopreneurs in the room, freelancers, consultants, designers, specialists who support print shops from the outside. With AI, you can scale your solo operation by delivering more value and faster. Crazy thing is that experts are saying that in the next few years, we're going to see the world's first billion-dollar valuation solopreneur company. Just sounds unbelievable, but it's coming. We already have solopreneurs at the 1 million, 10 million, and $100 million levels. There's a number of printers that I've talked with that are ready to transition to their encore career. AI can help you get there if you're looking at that from a solopreneur perspective. But for today, we'll keep moving because most of you on this call, you're inside the print shop and not orbiting around it like a solopreneur. So let's talk about what really moves the needle if you own the whole thing. That is AI Workflow Master opportunity number 3, where you make more money as a company. And now your focus shifts to the team that you employ. What happens when an organization full of people starts to apply these AI mastery methods to their roles? You get to the point where the employer that builds a team with the most AI workflow masters wins. Let me say that one again. Whoever has the team with the most AI workflow masters wins. You will move faster than competitors. You will find new opportunities. You will execute the most AI powered performance experiments. You will be positioned to be the printer and marketing services provider that emerges out of the AI revolution. All right, so let's bring this all together here. You have three options. The first option is to do nothing. I think we can all agree at this point that that's not a good idea. That's on the bad side of the things that we're looking at. You will soon be living in a world that expects you to use AI to do the work of 10 people. It's not enough to have a fleeting familiarity with AI. You need to know how to use AI to come alongside you to do real work every single day. That real work, that's all the boxes for all of the AI workflows we talked about on those grids. So if we go back to Andrew Wilkinson's job posting, we can look at that. There's one line in there that says you would never hire a lawyer unless you absolutely had to. That line seems a little bit out of place, but here's what's being said. If we paraphrase that, what he's saying is you would never spend company resources on external service providers unless you have tried to first solve the problem with AI yourself. And then, and only then, are you allowed to spend company resources on expensive outside service providers. All right, as promised, there are three turkey slides. Here's the final one. The last turkey slide says, don't do nothing. Don't be a turkey. The turkey does nothing, so please don't be that turkey. And you don't have to be. You can be an AI eagle. Could be a tough year coming up for a lot of people, still trying to figure out their path forward with AI. But it can be a very, very good year if we can help you get focused on the opportunities for AI workflow masters. If you decide to do something, you can do it yourself. You really can, but it will take time for you to filter through all of the AI buzz and all of the hype to find the good stuff. If you do it yourself, you just have to hope that you can get your AI skills to the point where you can stay ahead of all of the advances in AI. And that happens very, very fast. You can find others to help you do it too. Now, just spend a few moments on social media. You'll find plenty of ads offering AI help. But consider this, that if you've seen some things here today that you've not seen before, that might suggest to you that my AI community understands some things about AI that others do not. And you might want to consider continuing your AI journey with marketing ideas for printers, because we are laser focused on helping printers with their AI journey. That's why we do these workshops, so we can help you get started. And it starts with just one of the AI workflows from the AI for Printers platform. And so to wrap things up, the future belongs to AI workflow masters. AI workflow masters will do the work of 10 people using AI. You will be able to learn new roles and skills 10 times faster, and you'll be able to prove to the world what you can do with AI. For me, this is personal, deeply personal, because I started exploring AI partly out of curiosity, but mostly because I wanted to make sure that my company, Marketing Ideas for Printers, was prepared for a world about to be saturated with AI. But it became so much more than that. So much more. I've spent my career helping printers succeed, and I've never seen a shift like this one. AI is not a trend, it is a transformation, and you can approach this transformation not with fear, but with confidence. I want you to have the tools and the confidence and the support not only to keep up with AI, but to truly lead with AI. That's why we built this AI for Printers program, specifically for printers like you, because it fits perfectly with our promise of helping you sell more printing. And with that, I'll wrap up the recorded portion of today's workshop. If you're watching the recording, you can also access the featured AI workflow prompt by dropping me a note or giving me a call. My contact info is on the screen right now. If you're here live, stick around, and after I stop the recording, I'll give you today's featured AI workflow prompt from the AI for Printers platform. We'll run it together, and you'll walk away with a real win from today's featured AI workflow. So I'll end the recording. For those of you that are here live, we'll continue in just a moment.